अवतार वरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। तव कथामृतं तप्तजीवनं कृष्णा कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदाततं कृष्णा भुवि गृह्णन्ति ते भूरिदा जना। Good evening, everyone. I chanted two verses as invocation. The first verse, of course, you all are familiar. The verse conveying our salutations to Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. The second verse, Tava Kathamritam, it is customarily chanted in every class on the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. The Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, as you know, was written originally in Bengali by Mahendranath Gupta, and he gave the title Kathamrut in Bengali, Sri Ramakrishna Kathamrut, to this book, which was later translated into English as the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. So this verse, Tava Kathamritam, is chanted in every gospel class, mainly because the word Kathamritam appears there. Tava Kathamritam, and this verse occurs in Srimad Bhagavata, which is one of the important Mahapurana of Indian lore. Especially in Bhagavata, there is one chapter called Gopika Gita. There is one section called Gopika Gita, which is the hymns sung by gopis. Gopis, as you know, are the milkmaids of Vrindavan. They extol Sri Krishna, they pray in praise of Sri Krishna. They sung this hymn. It is very famous as Gopika Gita, which occurs in the 10th skanda, 10th book of the Bhagavata. The translation goes like this. The nectar of thy excellences revives the anguished spirit of man. It effaces all sins, while wise men bestow their praise on it and leave contemplating on it. To hear them is itself auspicious and peace generating. Those indeed are the real gift makers who spread them far and wide. Who spread them means those excellences of the Lord, the great glory of the Lord. So, as you can see, every word of this verse applies very aptly to the book Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. For today's class, I have selected a portion from the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, which is a conversation which Sri Ramakrishna had with one of his lay disciple by name Adharlal. The date is September 7th, 1884, and the place is Dakshineshwar. So how I chose this portion is, as you know, on Labor Day, we had a retreat here in which the entire Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna was read, collectively, of course, collectively by all the devotees. And this was my first retreat here in Vedanta Society. And on that day, I was handed a booklet with a few pages of the Gospel to read. And I, along with other devotees, sat here and read that portion for almost an hour and 40 minutes. And this is the portion I got that came to me. And I liked that portion. Of course, I must have read it several times before. But since I happened to read it once again recently, I chose that portion. Another beauty of this portion is, see, here we find Sri Ramakrishna in a very, very homely, in a very endearing manner. Probably this is one of the few pages, few portions of the gospel where Sri Ramakrishna is not going to samadhi. Okay, every other page you will see Sri Ramakrishna went to samadhi, he was in divine ecstasy, or he was dancing in rapturous, singing rapturously. So all those we come across. But this portion, you don't find any of those things. And also it is not very high, very heavy on philosophy either. Okay, so we have very, very intimate picture of Sri Ramakrishna in these few pages. And another reason I chose this is, it has one important message to the lay disciples, the householders who are trying to progress in spiritual path. For them, it holds an important message that they should not hanker after name, fame, power, position, money, those things, and they should control their desires. So, as you know, the spiritual life is mainly it is controlling the mind, or it is controlling the desires. So this message is very beautifully brought out in this portion. And one more, lastly, what appealed to me this portion here is that we see that Sri Ramakrishna had disciples who were not very unlike ourselves. So it is not that Sri Ramakrishna had only disciples like Narendra or Swami Vivekananda or Nag Mahashay or Durga Charan Nag. Yes, they were all of very high stature. We don't come across such disciples often. But Sri Ramakrishna's, that circle of disciples did not consist only of such people. Even ordinary people like you and me, we were also, we have our own representatives of this section of devotees as well. So that also we will see here, and how Sri Ramakrishna dealt with them, how he gave advices to such people, that we see here. So the day, as I said, it was September 7th, 1884. On the day, Master Mahashay had come to Dakshineshwar around 11 o'clock in the morning, and there was singing and dancing in the morning. And that portion I will not cover. If you are following the book, we are on page 518 in the first volume of the Gospel. On page 518. In the morning, as I said, so there was singing, dancing, and some conversation as well. And in the dusk, on the same day, in the evening, this conversation which we are going to discuss happened. So I begin with that portion. It was about dusk. Many of the devotees took their leave. A lamp was lighted in Sri Ramakrishna's room and incense was burnt. After some time, the moon came out, flooding the sky with its light. Sri Ramakrishna was sitting on his couch. He was in a spiritual mood, absorbed in contemplation of the Divine Mother. Now and then he chanted her hallowed name. So, this picture we get quite a few times in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Every day at dusk, Sri Ramakrishna, wherever he be, whatever he may be doing, so he will sit quietly and take the name of the Lord, take the name of the Mother. See, this holds a great lesson for us. In Indian tradition, in the Hindu tradition, this time, this evening is considered very auspicious for spiritual practices. In Sanskrit, it is called Sandhya Kala. Sandhya Kala, it comes from Sandhi. Sandhi means joint. So, what is joint? The day meets the night. The day and night meet at this hour, at this dusk. So, sun is about to set. So long the world was full with light. Now the darkness will slowly set in. So that time is considered very auspicious for spiritual disciplines. So those of you who have been initiated into mantra, probably you would have received the instruction from your guru that every day in the morning, again morning also, at dawn, when the day just breaks in at that time, and again at dusk, one has to perform his devotions. One has to repeat the mantra. And in our tradition, in the Ramakrishna tradition, in all our Vedanta societies and our centers in India, this is the time for Vesper service. Okay, so we have Vespers at that time. So here in Vedanta society, the Vesper service is at a standard time. It is at 6 o'clock, right? But in India, in several of our centers, that the evening Vesper time is not fixed like this. Okay, so that keeps varying according to the time of sunset. Okay, so in summer we will have longer day and shorter nights. So the sun will set, say, around 6:30 p.m. or sometimes even 7 p.m. So then the Vesper service also will be pushed further. And in winter, day will be shorter. So sun will set, say, by 5:30, especially in the eastern part of India, the sun will set very early. 5:30 it becomes dark. So we will have Vesper at 5:15 p.m. So from 5:15 p.m. at this end and up to 6:45 p.m. at the other end, the Vesper service time will vary. And of course, the devotees are well informed about this. So we have a chart on what day what will be the Vesper service. So accordingly, they come. The reason I mentioned is, so conducting the Vesper service, conducting these devotions at that time when sun is setting, that is important. So that is because that is considered auspicious. Now, Sri Ramakrishna, his incarnation is an incarnation. He was such a great sadhaka, and he had many realizations. So still, even he, at that time, at dawn, at dusk, so even he will, without fail, would take the name of the Mother, would take the name of the Lord. Okay, so in other places we see in the Gospel, Sri Ramakrishna will once around the afternoon, he will say, I will smoke tobacco, tamak khabo. He will say, but then he will immediately ask, see whether is it evening, is it dusk? If it is dusk, I will not take tobacco. he will say in one place. In another place, we'll see that Sri Ramakrishna, he wants to know whether it is evening, whether it is dusk. So how is there was no clock, probably he was not using clock. So his method was, he will look at his palm, okay, the back of his palm, and if he can see the hair, if he can see the hair, that means still light is there. And if he cannot, then it means it has become dark. Then he will say, now it is time to take the name of the mother. So he will set aside all other things and devote himself. At least a few minutes he will take. And of course, he cannot do japa like us. So with a rosary in hand. Once or twice he tried, but before turning 4 or 5 the beats, his mind would soar into samadhi. But still, he would repeat the name of the mother of Krishna, Govinda, all those names he will repeat. So we who are spiritual aspirants who want to progress in spiritual path, we should be careful about our devotions at this hour. See, it may happen that one day we will remain so busy and we cannot perform our devotions as long as we wish. But still, we should not make it a general rule. See, we should be regular as far as possible. We should be regular. Without that regular practice, it is very difficult to achieve anything in the spiritual life. Coming back to the text, so now and then he chanted her hallowed name. Adhar was sitting on the floor. Yam and Niranjan too were there. Sri Ramakrishna began to talk to Adhar. So this whole chapter, this portion is dealing with this Adhar. So Adhar, to give you a little background, he was one of the intimate disciples, late disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. His full name was Adhar Lal Sen. He lived less than 30 years, just 30 years. He met with a premature death. He held a very high position. He was called deputy magistrate. He was holding a high position, deputy magistrate. And before that, he had he was educated in college, and he had written a few books of poems in Bengali, and also a book on some sacred places in East Bengal, now which is Bangladesh. So he was well known among the scholars, among the elite of the Kolkata of those times. He was, in fact, Sri Ramakrishna met Bankim Chandra Bankim Chandra, who was perhaps the greatest writer of those times, Bengali writer, through Adhar. So Adhar introduced Sri Ramakrishna to Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay. This Adhar, he was very devoted to Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna visited his place several times. So he considered Adhar's home as one of his parlors in Kolkata. So Adhar used to hold festivals, religious festivals at his home, and invite Sri Ramakrishna, and there would be kirtan, that is singing, dancing would happen. And once Sri Ramakrishna even visited Adhar's home on Durga Puja day. So we have a beautiful narration of that incident. So Sri Ramakrishna had darshan of Mother Durga in Adhar's place. If Sri Ramakrishna, if for some reason, if he could not go to Adhar Lal's home for some time, then Adhar would say, Thakur, Master, you have not come to my place, and all the rooms in my house are smelling very worldly. There is a worldly smell in my home. You please come and bless. Sri Ramakrishna would very much appreciate that kind of devotion from other. Sri Ramakrishna also, as I told you, he was in a very high position, and every day after his office work, this other would return home. Maybe in the late afternoon, he will eat, and from there he will come to Dakshineshwar. So he was living in Kolkata. From Kolkata, he will come to Dakshineshwar. Of course, there was no automobiles at that time. He would hire a horse-drawn carriage, and it would take 1.5 hours from his place to Dakshineshwar. He will come there, and many days it would so happen that he would be so tired after coming to Dakshineshwar, because he has worked in the office whole day, and now he has come here, and he would just fall asleep in the veranda of Sri Ramakrishna's room. He would just fall asleep, and then Sri Ramakrishna would wake him up maybe around 10 o'clock, and because 10 o'clock is the time when the main gate of Dakshineshwar temple complex would close. So before that, Sri Ramakrishna would wake him up, and he will return to his home. And some devotees would object, hey, this other, he has come here and just sleeping. Instead of listening to the words of Sri Ramakrishna, he is just sleeping here. So they would object. But then Sri Ramakrishna would say, no, it is not like that. See, he works in that office, and he is tired, and he has come here, and even if he sleeps, it is good. See, this is the place of Divine Mother. It is blissful place. So instead of engaging himself in worldly talks, he is having good sleep. It is good. So if we fall asleep after coming to this temple, okay, so we don't have to feel very sorry. Because Sri Ramakrishna has given his sanction. Even if he sleep here, it is good. So rather than spending time in worldly matters. So that was other, so devoted. But here we see another aspect of other in this particular portion. Sri Ramakrishna began to talk to other. Master, what? You have come just now. We have had so much kirtan and dancing. Shamdas began the kirtan. He is Ram's music teacher, but I didn't enjoy his singing very much. I didn't feel like dancing. As I told you, on this day, September 7, so the day actually started at 11 o'clock. The recording, the master recorded the happenings that happened in the morning around 11 o'clock. There was kirtan and all that. So obviously other could not join. He has come only after finishing his work. So that is what Sri Ramakrishna is saying. And the singer on that day was that Shamdas. So Sri Ramakrishna makes a very funny remark here. I didn't feel like dancing after listening to the music of Shamdas. So what is the reason? Sri Ramakrishna says, later I heard about his character. I was told that he had as many mistresses as there are hair on a man's head. Sri Ramakrishna was so colloquial, and at the same time very so pointed, so sharp criticism. So because his character was not good, Sri Ramakrishna did not enjoy his singing. So again, here is another lesson. See, it is not the good voice or the instrument or our proficiency. It is not those things that will please Sri Ramakrishna. Okay, it is our devotion, right? So in fact, in in South India, there is one saint. There was one saint. His name is Purandara Dasa. So he has composed thousands of songs in Kannada language. In one song is on this theme. So he says, Purandara Dasa says in that song that the Hari, the Lord, will not listen to such music which, though is accompanied by very great notes, good instruments, all those things are there. We say raga, tala, that is rhythm, note, everything is perfect. But there is no devotion behind the singing. There is no devotion behind that music. Such music will never please the Lord. So that is the meaning of that song. So here we find that Sri Ramakrishna, see, Shamdas, this person who sang that morning, he was teacher, Ram's music teacher. That means he must be an accomplished musician, right? It is not some Tamjik and Hari, but he was a good musician, but he was still his music failed to impress Sri Ramakrishna. Why? Because he had a loose character. He was not strong. Obviously, if character is bad, how can such person have devotion? So thank you. So, the music did not impress. Then afterwards, though it is not mentioned here, after that someone else, some musician who had come from Konnagar, they started singing, and Sri Ramakrishna really enjoyed that music, and he did lot of dancing and all, as we saw. But the singing from Shamdas did not impress him. Next, Sri Ramakrishna asks other, didn't you get the job? So the master, that is Master Mahashaya, Mahendranath Gupta is giving the background. Other held the post of deputy magistrate, a government post that carried with it great prestige. He earned 300 rupees a month. So 300 rupees a month at that time should be a very good amount. He had applied for the office of vice chairman of the Calcutta municipality. The salary attached to this office was 1,000 rupees. That means more than 3 times what he was earning. In order to secure it, other had interviewed many influential people in Calcutta. So this is the background. So he was deputy magistrate. He was earning a handsome salary, this other, but now he wanted the post of vice chairman of Calcutta municipality. And he, of course, it is a higher post, and also he will draw higher salary. So both power and money are attached to this post, and he was hankering after that post. He was trying for that post. Now Sri Ramakrishna is asking him, didn't you get the job? So we don't find answer to this question, but the conversation is very interesting. The master, Thakur says, Sri Ramakrishna says to Yam and Niranjan, Hazra said to me, please pray to the Divine Mother for Adhar, that he may secure the job. So Hazra, Pratap Chandra Hazra is a very, very interesting character in the life of Sri Ramakrishna. So he had all, not all, many qualities which we devotees should not have. He was greedy, he was hypercritic, he was full of hypocrisy, he was envious, he had a debt, but he never cared to repay the debt. He made his mother cry. All those things we come across. But still, Sri Ramakrishna was all mercy, and still he gave him shelter and he kept him near. And he would say that, see, when the play will be more fascinating, more interesting if there are Jatila and Kutila. So Jatila and Kutila are references to two characters that we come across in the Radharani's life. Okay, so Radharani, as you know, she was she was one of the gopis, one of the milkmaids of Vrindavan, the foremost among the gopis who were devoted to Sri Krishna. But because Radha was devoted to Sri Krishna, she had to face lot of troubles at her home. Okay, so her mother-in-law was Jatila, and there was one daughter-in-law in the same house that her name was Kutila. So this mother-in-law, daughter-in-law combined together, they gave lot of trouble to this Radha Rani. But because they gave these troubles, they spread scandals, all this makes the story of Radharani very interesting. Without these two people, probably we would not have enjoyed the Radharani story as much as we do now. So in the same way, Sri Ramakrishna says that because of this Pratap Chandra Hazra, so Sri Ramakrishna's life means we can see the contrast. Contrast becomes very clear. Anyhow, so this Hazra, he was he had intervened, and he has asked Sri Ramakrishna on behalf of Adhar. So Hazra had requested Sri Ramakrishna that you please pray to Divine Mother that Adhar should get that job of vice chairman of municipality, because Hazra also knows, though he would say sometimes funny things about Sri Ramakrishna, he would not give as much regard as others would give, but still he knows that Sri Ramakrishna holds the power. So if he tells mother, if he prays to mother, so it will be done. So, and very interestingly, Sri Ramakrishna did that. See, so Sri Ramakrishna says, Adhar too made the same request to me. I said to the mother, "Oh mother, Adhar has been visiting you. May he get the job if it pleases you." See, Sri Ramakrishna says, he doesn't stop, may he get the job. No, but he adds this clause, may he get the job if it pleases you. But then he says, but at the same time, I said to her, how small-minded he is. He is praying to you for things like that and not for knowledge and devotion. So Sri Ramakrishna tells mother how small-minded, instead of praying to you for spiritual virtues like knowledge, devotion, he is praying for these petty worldly things which are today there and tomorrow it will not be there. So in this context, we remember the famous incident in the life of Swami Vivekananda. Right? So when he was undergoing lot of hardships because of poverty following the death of his father, so he went to Sri Ramakrishna finally, that praying to him that you please tell mother, that I will come out of these difficulties, that there should be some good arrangements for my family. So, but Sri Ramakrishna says, no, such prayers doesn't come out of my lips. Okay, and moreover, you don't. At that time, he was still a staunch follower of Brahmo Samaj, and he would not accept image worship. So Sri Ramakrishna tells him that since you don't accept mother, I cannot pray. You only go and pray. So Sri Ramakrishna asks Swami Vivekananda Narendra to go to mother, and Swami Vivekananda he goes to the temple. Standing before the mother, he forgets what he had come to ask for. Right? So he will pray only for knowledge, devotion, the discernment and detachment. These things he will pray for. And then he will come out and Thakur asks him, did you pray for what you wanted? Oh, so Narendra says, no, I forgot. So Sri Ramakrishna sends him again. Again he forgets. And third time, Sri Ramakrishna sends him once again. This time, standing before the mother, Narendra remembers that, yes, I want this. But before mother, seeing the blissful form of the mother, he cannot raise himself to say that prayer. Instead, he will pray once again for spiritual qualities. But here we find that Hazra is praying to the mother. He is praying, and also he is making Sri Ramakrishna pray for some worldly attainment for this post in the Kolkata municipality. That is why Sri Ramakrishna says that you are small-minded. Then to other, Sri Ramakrishna says, why did you dance attendance on all those small-minded people? So the reference is to, because he was hoping for that post, other was hoping for that post, he had to meet many influential people in Kolkata. He was trying to pull the strings in his favor. So that is why Sri Ramakrishna is scolding him. Why did you dance attendance on all those small-minded people? You have seen so much. You have heard so much. Then, within quotes, after reading the entire Ramayana, to ask whose wife Sita is. So, means Sri Ramakrishna is saying, see, you have been coming to me and you have listened to so much of discourses on spiritual matters. And in fact, Sri Ramakrishna once he had even initiated him by drawing something on his tongue. Sri Ramakrishna had done that to Adhar. So, Sri Ramakrishna says that you have heard so much, you have seen so much. That means you have seen, he has seen Sri Ramakrishna such great lives, spiritually the enlightened person as Sri Ramakrishna, his samadhi, his ecstasy, all that he has seen. He has seen people like Narendra, Rakhal, and after all that, you are hankering after this position. And then he is saying a proverb which means, after reading entire Ramayana, to ask whose wife Sita is. So Ramayana, as you know, is the story of Rama and Sita, right? So if a person, after reading the entire Ramayana, after coming to the end of the book, if he says whose wife Sita is, so that means he has failed to understand even a little of the of the book, of the story, the Ramayana story. So here also rarely we come across some devotees, I still call them devotees, who come to our centers, say to Vedanta Society. They come here for 6 months, 1 year, and after that, if they ask one day, who is Swami Vivekananda? Right. So before coming here, I lived in Belur Math for several years. So once in a while, when we were walking around the campus, some visitors would ask us, seeing our cloth, they can understand that we live there, and they will ask, see, I went to the temple. Who is sitting inside the temple? Whose image it is? So even without knowing the Sri Ramakrishna, that this is a temple dedicated to Sri Ramakrishna, they would come to Belur Math, go around the places and things like that. Anyhow, so Sri Ramakrishna is scolding Adhar that after all these things, you are doing such a thing, that you are hankering after that post. Now, the interesting conversation, actual conversation begin. Now, Adhar, see, after getting this scolding from Sri Ramakrishna, he should have either kept quiet or he should have, still better, he should have apologized to Sri Ramakrishna. I'm sorry, please forgive me. That is what is expected. But here he starts arguing with Sri Ramakrishna. He starts defending himself. That he says he thinks that what he was doing is correct, and now he wants one seal of approval from Sri Ramakrishna. He wants Sri Ramakrishna to say that yes, you are doing right. There is nothing. So that is the interesting part of this story. So Adhar says to Sri Ramakrishna, a man cannot but do these things if he wants to lead a householder's life. You haven't forbidden us to, have you? So Adhar is saying Sri Ramakrishna, see, we are householders, we are lay people. So lay people, they have to do these things. And Sri Ramakrishna has told many times that even householders, even they can realize God. So rarely, or if at all, we find Sri Ramakrishna telling householders that you give up everything, take to monastic life, go to a forest or go to Himalayas, nothing of that sort. So n number of times we see in the gospel that Sri Ramakrishna always encourages lay devotees that yes, you too can attain God by remaining wherever you are. And he has given several ways of doing that. So other is raising that issue. See, you have permitted us to lead the householder's life, and because we are householders, we are leading this life, we have to do these things. So it is very much essential. It is very necessary. Then Sri Ramakrishna says, Nivrutti alone is good and not pravrutti. So Sri Ramakrishna says, Nivrutti alone is good and not pravrutti. Now, Nikhilananji Maharaj, the translator of this gospel, in this context, he has translated, he has given notes. So Nivrutti and pravrutti mean, respectively, inwardness of the mind and its inclination to outer enjoyment. So nivrutti means inwardness of the mind, and pravrutti means inclination to outer enjoyment. So obviously, for spiritual aspirants, inwardness of the mind, that is important. The words nivrutti and pravrutti are interpreted differently in other contexts. Say in Swamiji's Karma Yoga also, you will come across these two words. There Swamiji gives a different interpretation. But here it is, to put it simply, in simple words, we can say that nivrutti is spiritual striving and pravrutti is going after worldly enjoyment. So Sri Ramakrishna says, Nivrutti alone is good and not pravrutti. Then, to illustrate this principle, Sri Ramakrishna gives two instances from his own life. Once, when I was in a God-intoxicated state, I was asked to go to the manager of the Kali temple to sign the receipt for my salary. So, as you know, Sri Ramakrishna was employed as a priest of the Kali temple. So he was entitled for a salary, a monthly salary. I was asked to go to the manager of the Kali temple to sign the receipt for my salary. They all do it here. They all means all other priests, other workers of the temple, because it's a big temple complex, there were many people working. So they all do it here. But I said to the manager, I cannot do that. I am not asking for any salary. You may give it to someone else if you want. Sri Ramakrishna, I don't want salary, I am not asking. If you want, you give it to somebody else. I cannot go and sign. See, Sri Ramakrishna says, I am the servant of God alone. whom else shall I serve? See, such beautiful idea. See, I am the servant of God alone. Whom else shall I serve? Malik noticed this is the first instance. Second instance, Sri Ramakrishna says, Malik noticed the late hours of my meals and arranged for a cook. He gave me 1 rupee for a month's expenses. That embarrassed me. So I am not very sure who this Malik Sri Ramakrishna is referring to. One was Shambhucharan Malik is there. But Sri Ramakrishna would always call him Shambhu, not Malik. So this could be the same person or someone else. So he had offered him 1 rupee for month's expenses. And Sri Ramakrishna had accepted that at that time. That embarrassed me. So as a result, what happened? I had to run to him whenever he sent for me. See, so it would have been quite a different thing if I had gone to him of my own accord. See, so Sri Ramakrishna, he knew, he understood that if we accept anything from somebody, so we feel obliged to satisfy them. See, this person, he had given him some financial support and Sri Ramakrishna had accepted. Now as a result, he has come under his obligation. So for a spiritual person, even a slight bondage, they feel it very much. They cannot tolerate that. So as a result, so he would not accept anything. In Patanjali Yoga Sutra, for example, there is Ashtanga Yoga, and the first step in the Ashtanga Yoga is Yama. So Yama is set of 5 principles, and one principle is aparigraha. Aparigraha is one of the conditions, one of the spiritual disciplines we come across in the Patanjali Yoga Sutra. So aparigraha means non-acceptance of gifts. So why? For the same reason. So you accept gift, and Sri Ramakrishna says, and even in Yoga Sutra it is said that one who receives the gift, his mind will be tainted by the color of the one who has made that gift. Okay, if a spiritual person, if a spiritually inclined person, devotee, if he gives some gift, if he makes a donation, there may not be much harm in accepting such a thing. But if we accept a gift from a worldly minded person, it will have more harm. It will do more harm. So Sri Ramakrishna says, so I was much embarrassed. Next, I am leading the worldly life. In leading the worldly life, one has to humor mean-minded people and do many such things. After the attainment of my exalted state, I noticed how things were around me and said to the Divine Mother, "Oh Mother, please change the direction of my mind right now so that I may not have to flatter rich people." See, in the very beginning, Sri Ramakrishna made this prayer to Divine Mother that you make such arrangement, you please arrange my life in such a way that I don't have to run after worldly people, rich people, and flatter them, because he knew that his needs were very, very minimal, and he did not hanker for any expensive goods or delicacies, nothing he would need. So he doesn't have to run after rich people. So in response to that, we know that Divine Mother arranged so beautifully. She had given him 5 suppliers, not 1 or 2, 5. So in Bengali they are called Rasadhar. 5 Rasadhar means 5 suppliers. So starting from Mathurnath Bishwas. So these people, they took so good care of Sri Ramakrishna until the very end. So, to other, Sri Ramakrishna continues, be satisfied with the job you have. People hanker after a post paying 50 or 100 rupees, and you are earning 300 rupees. You are a deputy magistrate. I saw a deputy magistrate at Kamarpukur. His name was Ishwar Ghoshal. He had a turban on his head. Men's very bones trembled before him. I remember having seen him during my boyhood. Is a deputy magistrate a person to be trifled with? So Sri Ramakrishna is telling other that, see, you already have a good post. Huh? You already have a good post. It carries such high prestige, and you are drawing such a handsome salary. Be satisfied with that. See, we have to understand this in the right context. See, Sri Ramakrishna is telling this to other who was a devotee, who was interested in spiritual life. Sri Ramakrishna was very much sure of his spiritual capabilities. To him, he is giving this advice, right? Whereas in the case of other people, see, those who are still following the worldly ideals, right? Those who have yet to turn their turn a leaf in their life and come to spiritual path. For such people, Sri Ramakrishna would not have said this. See, in the gospel itself, we see in several places Sri Ramakrishna scolding people who were not engaged in any profitable business, who are not doing enough for their family. He scolds them that, see, you should take to a good job and earn money, look after people, serve sadhus, all those advices he gives. Okay, but here in this context, he is telling other. So for such people, of course, they should strive and try to progress in their path, in their career. Everything is important. Okay, but in this context, Sri Ramakrishna is saying that be satisfied with the job you have. Then Sri Ramakrishna says, serve him whom you are already serving. The mind becomes soiled by serving but one master, and to serve 5 masters. See, Sri Ramakrishna says, see, you are already a deputy magistrate. That means you already have a boss. Huh? So you serve him. And on top of that, now you want a higher post. By that, you will get into more complex situation, and you will have to satisfy more number of people. All that means what? You will have very less time for your spiritual disciplines. Your energy will be dissipated more, and it will do you harm in the long run. That is what Sri Ramakrishna is saying. Say, we can remember another incident that happened in the case of Swami Niranjanananda. Niranjanananda, his pre-monastic name was just Niranjan. So he was also coming to Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna was very much impressed by his simplicity, guilelessness, and after some time, Sri Ramakrishna came to know that Niranjan had accepted a job. Okay, so Niranjan had accepted a job. So that came as a shock to Sri Ramakrishna. It was a very great shock to Sri Ramakrishna. After some days, after getting this news, this Niranjan comes to Sri Ramakrishna one day in Dakshineshwar. Then Sri Ramakrishna tells him that, see, I heard that you have accepted a job. I would not have been much sadder if I had heard that you had drowned in a river. But later I understood that you accepted job because of your mother. He had a mother, Niranjan had a mother to look after. So because of her sake, he was forced to accept a job. Okay, Sri Ramakrishna says, because you have accepted the job for your mother's sake, I can forgive you. Otherwise, it would not have been possible for me to look at your face. Sri Ramakrishna says to Niranjan. So, why such strong opinion, strong advice? Means for a person like Niranjanananda to get entangled in such worldly affairs, to accept a job and do this, so would be suicidal for such spiritual people. So Sri Ramakrishna was very, very careful in protecting his devotees, in protecting his young disciples, whom he knew had a bright future. They had some mission to accomplish. So after this, after all this scolding, still Adhar is not convinced. He will continue to argue. Next, he will raise the topic of Narendra. So he knew that Narendra was the favorite disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, and Narendra was also in a very straitened circumstances at that time. He was seeking for a job, searching for a job, and Sri Ramakrishna was also much concerned about him. All that Adhar knew. So he tries to raise the topic of Narendra to defend his position. Okay, so I think we can stop here. So we'll continue in the next class, that is on next Wednesday. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.